Since they are not improved in Test and T20, do you have any special plan to improve in rankings or standard of cricket in Test and T20?
When was the last test Bangladesh played?
6 months.
It's a long time, right? So it's hard to get any sort of rhythm in your test match cricket when you're not playing that many test matches. So I think with the new test championship, that allows the team to focus a lot more on test match cricket. We know often Bangladesh play 1 or 2 test match series. Hopefully now there'll be 3 test match series, 4 test match series, which gets them more into that format of the game. Because so much focus is on white ball cricket. With the test championship now, a lot of that focus needs to move away from the World Cup and the 50 over format into test match cricket. So for starters, that'll be a good start to put a lot of emphasis and focus on our red ball skills going into the next couple of months.
Last question for the coach.
Coach, my name is Dave. I work for TV. And what you were telling about that the test championship is going to begin. As you mentioned, and it's not the first time from last 3, 4 or 8 years, everybody is saying that Bangladesh is not playing a test match, whether it is home or abroad. Do you feel the test championship that is occurring and it will be started from the tour of Bangladesh, tour of New Zealand, the very next November? Do you think this is the time that Bangladesh should go one step forward and test cricket because they are getting enough opportunity to play test cricket, whether it is home or abroad?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a massive opportunity for the Bangladesh cricket team to compete regularly in test match cricket. Like I said, the last test match was maybe 6 months ago. We can hardly even remember when it was. So now they will play an even amount of test match cricket compared to other teams, which will only benefit them. The more you play, the better you become at the format. And that's probably where they've been lacking, that they haven't played a lot of test match cricket. You think of the amount of games Australia, England, India play, and you count those test matches up against what Bangladesh have played, you can understand why they feel the leading sides in the world in that format.
Coach, we'll take questions for John now. Ronnie?
Sure, we'll take a lot of it. Thank you.
What I see?
Thank you.
So your appointment was announced before Russell's, and surely you had a thought back of your mind that who's going to be the new coach. When you got to know that it was Russell, and obviously you worked with other people and got to knew each other. So was there a sense of relief that Russell is the new coach?
Yeah, no, it makes it a lot easier. Of course, I've worked with Russell. Russell's a calm guy, good people skills. So I thought it was excellent coming to the subcontinent and having Russell with me as well, and Mackenzie and Ankle.
Sure, welcome to Bangladesh. Well, as you said that you have watched quite a number of matches of Bangladesh in the World Cup, and you have obviously seen that our new world pacers, they are not capable of taking wickets early in the innings. So, will this be your prior concern, area of concern regarding your coaching methods in the upcoming days for developing the Bangladeshi pace bowlers? And another thing is, traditionally we have the favorable condition for spinners. So how difficult will it be for a coach to nurse the pace bowlers from a country where we are heavily dependent on spinners?
Yeah, no, that's a challenge. When I coached at Afghanistan as well, that was a challenge. And if you can rectify that, if you can strike with the new ball, I think it will make it a lot easier to the spinners. And you will compete a lot more in 50 over test cricket. I just think it could be a small thing, a technical thing. If you look at Fitz, he's the type of guy, he can swing the ball, he's the left-hander. So that's the type of thing. If it's a technical or it's a tactical thing, the new ball is important in one-day cricket, even in test cricket, especially in these conditions. And as I said, the test for me is going to be to find seamers. They can bowl outside Bangladesh, they can bowl in conditions in South Africa, Australia. Because if you look at India now, they've got 3 seamers. They can win games in South Africa or in Australia. So we have to find somehow seamers, so when we go abroad and play in those conditions, we can compete.
Only because they've lost to Sri Lanka. If you're really honest with ourselves, and I've been as an international coach, touring straight after a World Cup is always going to be on. Sri Lanka probably had a bit more to gain from it. They had a few players leaving. It was Latik's last game. Kulaseka was given a farewell, so they had a bit more to prove. Whereas Bangladeshi players from watching from the outside had just come off a long World Cup and maybe needed more of a break than they did need to play. So I wouldn't read too much into the Sri Lankan series. Based on the World Cup performances, I thought they actually played really well. They were really close to winning some of the games that they lost. You think of the game against New Zealand, where there was maybe a missed run-out that possibly cost them the game. So I don't think they're that far off. The margins between winning and losing in international cricket are minimal. So I think the team is really close to becoming a real force in world cricket. If they can just make the right decisions at the right times, on the right days, I really don't think they're very far off the other side at the moment.
Then what is your evaluation about the Bangladesh cricket team's World Cup performance?
Look, the log will say that they ended in 7th, I think it was 7th or 8th? 7th or 8th. I think they played better than that. And I've been in international cricket long enough to know that sometimes the results can hinge on a decision here and there. So it's not always a fair reflection of where you are as a team. So I think there were a lot of positives to come out of the World Cup that they can build on going forward for sure. There's a lot of areas they can improve in, but there were a lot of positives that they can take out of the World Cup.
Coach, I would like to ask you a question to both of you. Basically, you are almost new to subcontinent, never coached in subcontinent. So, how are you planning to deal with the cultural shock here? I'd like to ask it, like able to ask you.
No, I haven't been. I've worked with Afghanistan for a year, so it's not that much of a culture shock. The passion is probably a shock to us because we don't see that in African cricket, the passion you guys have for the fans or the players. So the culture shock is not big. It's just dealing with the actual players, getting to know the players a bit more. Spoken to Russell and I said it's not as bad as people make it out to be. It's the same. You play cricket, people are just passionate about the cricket, the fans, and you need to deal with that.
For me, we're not going to change the world. When I say change the world, that's the way cricket's always been played in the subcontinent, and it's the way it is. And we can't expect Bangladesh cricket to adapt to us. We've got to adapt to Bangladesh cricket, and we've got to find a way to make our processes and our systems work well within the cricket organisation and with the players. So we might need to alter the way we go about things to fit in with the culture more so than the culture changing to fit in with us.
It's basically Bangladesh media, which you're going to see a lot of for the next years or so. So, if you have any questions, please raise your hand, introduce yourself, and then we'll move on to the questions. We'll take questions for the head coach first, and then we'll move on to show. Sikandar.
Hi, coach. I'm Sikandar from Bengali Devi, Shamokal. My question is that how was the first session here? Firstly, welcome here, and how was the first session here as a head coach?
Morning. Thanks for coming in. There's a lot of you here. It's been good. I got here late last night, and we're up this morning. I think we're up at 6 this morning. Took us a bit quicker than we thought to get to the ground. Only about 20 minutes. We were expecting about an hour and a half. But good to meet some of the players. Not everybody's here. Good to meet the support staff that's here. Mara's been working with the boys for a few days. And good to see the boys sweating there this morning. I think it's their second session of running. So good to finally get here and start working with us.
Hi coach, Sami here. I'm from a Bengali newspaper. Well coach, as we learned that you impressed the cricket board with your presentation regarding the future of your work in Bangladesh cricket team. Can you please briefly explain us about your presentation, what you presented towards the board, and what will be your future plans regarding the Bangladesh national team?
Thanks, Abby. It was quite interesting. Everybody's talking about this presentation. Look, I think because I've worked with a lot of different levels of cricket, from under 15 to under 17, to domestic cricket, to international cricket, I think I'm very aware of how important field systems are. The systems below the national side, because ultimately that's where your base of player needs to come from. That's where your next tier of players needs to come from. So I think I want to place a lot of emphasis on monitoring the players just beneath the national side, and when there are opportunities to play some of those players, you need to take those opportunities. And it can't be for one or two games. You need to try and give players a little bit of a run, young players especially, so that they can finally feel the international cricket. So I think the gist of the presentation was, guys, we've got a good national side here, but we need to make sure that we're developing the players just under the national side to sustain the success of Bangladesh cricket.
Coach, sorry, I have to go back to the presentation again. As the BCB official said that they saw lots of passion in your speech, passion towards Bangladesh cricket. So I'm just interested to know that how that passion generated. Was it in general passion towards cricket, or passion towards your profession, or in general some special liking towards Bangladesh cricket?
Yeah, look, I think it's my 7th time I've been to Bangladesh. The first time I was here was the Under-19 World Cup in 2004, which is a long time ago. And the thing that always strikes me is exactly this, the number of people that are interested in Bangladesh cricket. I'm from South Africa, where if you get to a press conference for a big South African game, there may be 8 or 9 reporters. I've never seen as many reporters in my life. I got to the airport yesterday, there were 100. We couldn't drive the car because there were so many cameras in front of the car. It was crazy. So the passion is always stuck in Bangladesh cricket. I mean, you always see people dressed up in tiger suits next to the field, and the way the supporters go about supporting the team. There's definitely a massive passion for cricket in this particular region, and that's probably what attracted me to this part of the world.